friends, and welcome to Self Meets Soul, a podcast where we discuss how to discover what sets your soul on fire and modern ways to integrate spirituality into your daily life. My name is Juliana, and in today's episode, we're going to be chatting about how masculinity and spirituality show up in today's world. Our guest today is a longtime friend of mine who has spent years doing the inner work. Pa Amat Khan is here to share his story. Welcome to the show, Pa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So before we get into today's topic, I want to know what's something that lights up your soul.
Okay, so a couple things. First, soccer.
For sure.
Second, just connecting with people in various ways, like conversation mostly, but just seeing people grow. I coach, and in the little interactions I have with these kids, like you get to see them kind of month over month, year over year, and they're growing to become not just better players, but better people. And that definitely lights up my soul.
Yeah, that sense of accomplishment, like I helped them get there.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. That makes sense too, because if you are listening and you know Pa or have met him, like you are just able to also just go up to people. That's how we met. He literally just came up to me like at the pool, just like, hello. And that is so like rare nowadays. And I feel like there's definitely something in you, like you're meant to connect with people.
And the funny thing is, I feel like I wasn't always that way. I feel like when I moved to ASU and not knowing anyone, like first semester, I didn't really go out. I just kept to myself. And I kind of had this realization or conversation with myself of like, if I continue this way, like my college years are going to be miserable. I'm not going to meet anyone. So it's just suck it up and say hi to people, meet people. Because I feel like everyone wants to connect.
Yeah.
The hardest part is just the initial approach. Yeah.
That's true. So you're taking that first step for people. But I'm sure too, like so many people were glad that happened because like you said, not many people want to take that step.
Right. So. Or even like sometimes I am a little bit timid to take that first step. So it's always appreciated when someone else takes that first step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love that. So to get us started here, what drew you towards doing like inner work and more self-reflection in the first place?
I feel like a bulk of it started when I initially got married. Prior to that, I had only lived with people that kind of shared the same background as me. Like we're all raised together with the same rules. So it's like, I really have to deviate too much from it. Now that I don't live with my family, when I spend time with them, I realize how similar we all are, which makes sense. But like when you live with someone who was raised differently, you start to notice little things. And I feel like the thing that I noticed the most was just like emotional attunement. I feel like when you're with a woman who knows herself, understands her feelings so well, and I'm there like, I have no idea what's going on. I can tell you that I'm happy or sad, but that's it. And even with the happy or sad, like I stay pretty neutral and I'll give you happy, but I won't really give you sad. So, being with my ex-wife, kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you should feel your feelings. You should be curious about your feelings. And I think that kind of set me on the path of learning more about my feelings. And I feel like that opened so many doors to my inner world.
Yeah, that's beautiful though, that relationship did cause you to be like, I never actually have processed this stuff or like realized, because like you're saying, happy or sad, there's so many different emotions. I can't even imagine just putting like, oh, I'm happy or sad. And like, I don't know, my current boyfriend, like I always think how overwhelmed he must be maybe because there's this whole like spectrum of emotions but I've always known that and I can like pinpoint it easily. So it is kind of wild that I don't want to say like men in general, but I feel like this is more of a man thing, right? Yes. Like they just that's not in their wheelhouse, like naturally.
Yeah. So I think like someone explained it to me, like feelings and emotions are like languages. Mm-hmm. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. And I feel like as men, we don't really practice them. So we're in kindergarten level when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
understanding our emotions. Yeah. But like anything, the more you practice it, the better you get at it, the better you're able to identify it. Probably because I feel like it still takes me some time like to realize how I'm feeling. It takes me like my processing time is sometimes forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get there eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, and you got curious about it and wanted to learn more and take that step to do the work, because like so many people don't even get to that point.
Agreed.
Men especially.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, kind of expanding on that, what messages did you receive growing up about what a man should be?
So some of the things that come to mind are like, as a man, you have to be strong, you have to be dependable, you have to like protect the people that you care about, and you also have to provide for your family. Oh, and another thing is your emotions are weakness. Like you don't show your emotions because then people will look at you as weak, and don't really get to see. I didn't really get to see examples of men being vulnerable too much
Mm-hmm.
as I was growing up. Yeah, so those are like the little things. You're judged based on the things that you accomplish, not how connected you are with yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like that's such a common message that a lot of men receive growing up, and is probably the root of a lot of issues between like miscommunication with men and women, just how the two genders view each other. But it's like, that's not, you can't choose that, right? That was just shown to you. Which of those messages do you feel like, have you kept any of those messages, or have you worked on unlearning any of them?
Yeah. So I think so. The ones I've kept are responsibility, being dependable, protecting the people you care about, keeping your word. Like those are things that I've tried to keep. I feel like the ones that I've kind of tried to move away from, and it's not easy, but it's just like the you know emotions or feelings being looked at as weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot more courage to express your emotions than it does to suppress them. And I feel like in this journey, the things I've learned the most is just being courageous in how you live. Take the chance. What is the actual worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So when you feel like those emotions are coming up, what is your natural instinct, your first instinct? Especially when it's unwanted emotions.
When it's unwanted. So I'll tell you previously what I used to do.
Mhm.
When I don't feel good, I put my earphones in, I turn my console on, I maybe have a couple beers, and I'm not worried about it at all. But now I'm learning to sit in the discomfort, which it's not easy. Like it's so much easier to just distract myself,
Mhm.
but sitting in the discomfort, allowing it to kind of just observing it as it is happening to me, but I can watch it just be like a river flowing. It's not me. It's just a feeling that is gonna pass. And I feel like it's been one of the biggest things. Like just understanding that just like everything, it is going to pass. But if you don't sit with it, you can't go through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because when you previously were using distractors, which we all have them in our own way, like for some of us, it's reading a book for many hours. But like when you have those distractors, did you feel like that worked well enough, or did you find like, oh, that feeling would come up randomly?
Yeah.
Again.
I think it just postponed dealing with the feeling.
Yeah.
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 Because sometimes I even feel like playing soccer does that. With soccer, at least, like I am physically
Expelling that out. Yeah.
So it feels like I justify it to myself as like it's not the same. But there are times where, in the hardest times of my life, all I want to do is play soccer every day. Every minute that I have that I'm not working or spending time with my friends, like I want to play soccer because then it gets me out of all that's in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a fine line, because like exercise in general, any type of body movement is a healthy way to cope with stuff. But yeah, there is that fine line of like overdoing it. So like we talked about, people who are running like 100 miles, like they're running from demons. It is a good way to expel that energy. But yeah, you have to like be mindful of, am I overdoing it to the point where it's like, I'm so much in my physical body that I can't be in the emotional body.
Yeah.
In the mental.
And the beauty of the body is if you work it too hard, it will break down. And I feel like that is what happens to me. It's like in those moments where I'm like, all my free time I'm gonna play soccer. It's like I always get injured. Yeah, I
Dang.
pull my groin, tore my ACL. It's like all these little things of your body just telling you, all right, maybe you just need to calm down now and stop running away.
Yeah, it gives you no choice. Yeah, that's fair. Because I feel like when I'm using distractions to like get away from emotions, it almost feels as if like that terrible feeling that I'm avoiding will randomly like just smack me in the back of the head, like in the middle of the day. You know, I'll be just doing something normal, and then suddenly that feeling of despair, anger, whatever it is, will just like take
Yeah,
over.
it happens. It's gonna leak out some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like once you understand that, you get to make the conscious decision of, am I going to deal with it now when I have the free time, or am I going to let it randomly occur and just play Russian roulette with this?
Yeah. Yeah. Because honestly, because when you do that and you don't, I like that Russian roulette because like you never know when it'll strike and it could be like, I don't know. I like was sad about something and I was in the middle of a workout class and then I was like trying not to cry. And I'm like, dang, this cannot happen right now. Like that's embarrassing. So
Just say sweat.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that for next time. But yeah, it's much easier. I mean, not easier, but in the long run, it's easier if you just like actually deal with it in the moment where you have that space. But obviously, we know that society has put certain things onto men so you all don't feel like you can express your emotions. But do you think now men are given enough space to be emotionally honest?
Honestly, no. I think some emotions are acceptable. Like, it's acceptable for a man to be angry, it's acceptable for a man to be confident, but it's not acceptable for a man to grieve, or for a man to be insecure. Like, these are all little things that are looked at as a weakness, where it shouldn't be that way. If a woman shows those emotions, like, no one's going to look at him as like a weak woman for being insecure. Like, everyone is insecure about something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes there are certain emotions that if a man shows, people will look at them a different way.
Do you think that's all people or
No.
other men or other women?
I think a combination of both.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think men who aren't doing the work will look at.
Yeah.
There's some of my friends where, like, if I told them that I was going to therapy, would be like, "Are you?"
That's crazy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like some people genuinely still think like if you go to therapy, like why? Like what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
You know? Where it's like really everyone should like try it at least.
agreed. Yeah.
Mm.
But I think it might maybe be, I don't want to say cultural, but I feel like some women want a strong man. Like, you have to be a strong, like, masculine man. Like, you cannot show any weakness. And so when you do, it kind of changes who you are in their head changes. So when you say, do we have the space to be emotionally honest? I don't think so. I think there are women who give you that space to be emotionally honest, but do I feel comfortable with any woman to be emotionally honest with? No. Yeah.
Yeah, because as you're saying this, you know, obviously I'm trying to reflect on my own beliefs and things like that, and ways that I've fallen into like societal traps, and I feel like I like obviously when a man is emotionally honest most of the time, right? But I do think even women who encourage it or are like, yeah, like you should be more open, you should journal, you should go to therapy, all that stuff. I think there is a fine line in their minds of, but now you're doing too much. Like now you should get over whatever it is that you're upset about. Or especially like when you're dating, the ick comes so fast. Yeah.
So it's hard, like, because I think we, like, as a society where we all like to think of ourselves as like progressive, but even with that, there's still some things that I don't want to say inherited, but like we learn from a young age that it's kind of hard to move away from, because unlearning is not, like, we make it seem like this easy thing of, it's like, these are the things I've unlearned. Yeah, some things are easy to unlearn, but some things have been ingrained in you for so long that it's going to take a substantial amount of time to unlearn them. And I feel like sometimes as a society, we don't give ourselves or others the grace of learning at their own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like even too, because me and my sister have actually talked about this with our dad and how he is like very typical man when it comes to emotions and everything like that. Like he's not very physically affectionate or anything. Like obviously he hugs us and stuff, but like that's just not, you know, it's just not his thing. He's a military man, all that stuff. And so me and my sister, we both have men and like men that are a little more, I don't know, I guess, I don't want to say in touch with their feminine side, but a little more emotionally expressive, I should say. But sometimes when we don't have a tolerance for something or we don't understand something in the same way that a man might, that's our like first go-to of like, he's being soft. I'm totally exposing myself,
but it's a cultural thing of you can't be soft as a guy.
Especially black men. Especially black men, because they have a whole expectation placed upon them.
You gotta be a strong black man.
Yeah. With unlearning, you know, you can try your best, but it's also hard when like society hasn't moved past that completely yet, because there's still stuff around you that's telling you otherwise. So how do you think your spiritual path has affected your understanding of masculinity?
Spiritually, I've moved from who do people expect me to be? Like I used to be in my ego, and I feel like I've moved more toward like my character. And now I kind of look at it from the lens of who am I when there's no one watching me? Like, because I feel like that is my authentic self. So I try to be conscious of myself when there is no expectation of who I should be, because that is the real me. And as a recovering people pleaser and nice guy, I feel that my interactions with people or my prior interactions with people used to be so people can like me. And in understanding that, I've pulled away and my interactions now are more of see me as I am. I feel like people now get to see the authentic version of myself rather than the curated version of myself.
What was the curated version? I'm curious.
Curated version would be, for example, not saying what I said about like when Cam came to visit. Like, sorry, not Cam, Caleb, when he came to visit. That would have been curated version. But that kind of struck a nerve. So I felt like I had to say something. Yeah. Whereas curated version would be, even if it strikes a nerve, I sit with it and I don't show it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? That makes sense, because that felt like I was seeing a whole different side of you. This situation we're referencing was like me in college, just being a young girl making dumb choices with an ex. But anyways, and Pa put me in my place in the moment. And then I was so upset because I was like, he got mad at me. He's never been mad at me before. But, you know, you had your, especially because like we were like in your house too. So you had the right to say something, you know? That's fair.
Yeah. And I feel like now the places where I see it come up a little bit is with older people. Like I went back home. I went to Georgia, it was a couple weeks ago, and I was around family. And there was the inclination to be the version that I know would be acceptable. But it felt good to push past it and choose to be myself. And in little moments like that, it gives you kind of the reassurance of, yeah, keep doing this. This feels good. Rather than being the version that they want, because then you don't feel like you're in that interaction, your cup has been filled. Because I feel like that's what family's supposed to do. When I went back, I felt like everyone got to see me for who I was. Because it was also the first time I was seeing majority of my family since I got divorced. And I saw some of them in December when we initially got divorced, and they'll ask about my ex-wife and I'll just say she's good, she couldn't make it. But it felt good to be like, we're actually not together anymore. And
that's hard with family.
It is hard.
Because then you're like, this opens me up to a bunch of questions and I don't want to get into it and I don't want to feel judged.
Yeah. But at the same time, I am a grown person. Like if I don't want to answer questions, I don't have to.
True.
Yeah. So
true.
So like I went into it with being honest, like anyone who asked, I told them we're not together anymore. And it's like, they didn't really ask me questions. They just empathized and asked if I was okay. I'm just like, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. And sometimes people will surprise you too. Like I think sometimes we think people might react a certain way if they see our true selves, and when we're showing them the first time that not curated version, and then sometimes they surprise us, we shouldn't necessarily assume.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like typically that's what we do. We assume worst case scenario. Usually somewhere in between.
Yeah. Yeah. Just our brain trying to protect us from, feeling hurt or pain or all that stuff. What do you think men often feel but rarely talk about?
I think probably being lonely. Yeah. I feel like in the last 6 months, I've come to understand what it actually means to be lonely. Like, even though there is the opportunity, it sucks to be lonely, but also when you're lonely, you have the chance to learn yourself. A lot of men are lonely but don't talk about it because there is no one to talk to about it. Yeah, so I feel like they just harbor it. There's usually also the feeling of not being good enough or not being enough that you kind of just keep inside and don't really share with anyone because no one wants to be seen as weak. No one wants to be judged. Yeah. So I feel like for the most part, we don't share certain things because we're afraid of the judgment, even though it's not really going to do anything to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, in the moment, it sucks. But what I've come to learn is when people judge, it's just their own subconscious being reflected. It's not really about me in that moment. It's about you and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. Even when you're judging other people too. I feel like I've had that realization a couple times, like, I don't know, lately even, where I'm like, dang, I was saying all that, talking all that smack. And then it's like, but really? Like, was this actually why?
Yeah.
The loneliness thing is true because I'm sorry, but I find it really hard to believe that this, all of these men, so many men just happen to be introverts. Because I hear that a lot, and I just don't know. I think it's just as many men are introverts as women are introverts. I think it's a kind of half and half type situation, with most things. But I feel like it's so normalized for guys to not have many friends, not see their friends that often, and then also just not talk to their friends about anything. I know we've had this conversation off camp, Mike, but I cannot imagine not being able to talk to my guy friends or just talk to my friends about serious stuff or how I'm feeling, or I'm so upset and I'm crying about something or whatever and I need someone to talk to, and being I can't go to my friends. That's terrible.
It is, but at the same time, I feel like women are a lot more communicative than men are. Our hangouts are around activity. I love my guy friends. I love my friends that I play soccer with, but we are there, we're collaborating, we're working together to achieve a common goal. And then we all feel good afterwards, and we don't really got to talk about what's going on. It's until recently, I feel like in the past maybe couple of years is when I've kind of been more expressive about what's going on in my life with my friends. But I have friends who give me the license to do that because they share things with me. And that's one of the things that a lot of guys who kind of keep to themselves and don't have a lot of friends miss out on is people around you give you the opportunity to be yourself and to be seen. And I feel like there's nothing more rewarding or powerful than the people around you knowing you for who you are, being able to identify you. The way I think of it is if I wasn't here anymore and they asked my friends about me, I want them to be able to give a relatively accurate description of who I was as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes as men, we don't give the people around us the opportunity to see us that way.
That's why I think, besides not actually having those physical friendships or seeing your friends, I think also the loneliness is brought upon you not having that true connection with someone where you feel like you can be open, because you can have people around you, but if you don't feel like they actually know you and are a safe container for you if you need it, then that is going to feel lonely.
It is. Yeah, and I think like safety also plays a huge part because I can open the door for you to be yourself, but if you don't feel safe being yourself, you're never gonna walk into that door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it takes men taking that first step though as well, because one of my friend's exes, he like they used to joke that he was like the therapist of the friend group, and I
Mhm.
think it's because he was just very emotionally aware and in tune with his emotions, and so he would, instead of like someone making a self-deprecating joke and him just like laughing about it, he
Uh-huh.
would like ask someone like an actual question, like to check in, and then someone would open up a little bit
Yeah.
and then he opens up about stuff. So then I think it's just like how we talked about you, like initiating conversation with strangers, like with your friends,
Hmm.
your male friends, having to sometimes be the one to like share something maybe
Right.
first,
Yeah.
because then that other man might be like, oh, wow, like he told me this, I didn't know that about him, and then maybe something pops up and they're like, wait, maybe I can talk to Pa about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think that definitely plays a huge part. So one of the things I also feel is like it's a lot easier for me to have a deep, honest conversation with someone I just met at the bar that I'm probably never going to see again than it is sometimes to have those similar conversations with people that I know, because I'm thinking of it as like there could be judgment, but with the stranger, it's like, I don't know this person. I'm never going to see this person again. I make sure I don't get their number, their Instagram. We're not connect. Like, I get to,
Dang, I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you're meeting these strangers. Like, ooh, what is he spilling?
but this was prior to me building my male friend group to be able to actually have these conversations with them. But that's what I would do. Like when I needed to talk, I just go to a bar and just have a conversation with a stranger. I don't want to call it therapeutic, but it felt like the same thing with like playing soccer and release. It
Mm-hmm.
just felt like a release of this is something that's been going on in my head or something that I've been feeling that I didn't feel like I could share with anyone around me, but I get to get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Journaling sometimes feels that way too.
Yeah, I see what you mean too about it. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's not the same as telling someone
Yeah.
all the time. So, what would you tell a man who is feeling disconnected from himself?
Yeah, I think just connecting with people makes you get out of your head and puts you out in the real world, and it's not that scary. The world in my head is a lot scarier than the outside world. So for anyone who feels disconnected, it's like find the little things that get you to connect with people or connect with yourself. You got to do both. You got to connect with people, but also connect with yourself. Journaling, meditating, praying, even like stretching, just being in your body. All of those little things keep you connected to yourself.
And how do you think women can help the men in their lives foster healthy masculine energy? This is your time to get it all out.
Oh God. It's not a woman's responsibility to help a man foster masculine energy. As a man, you have to do the work. You have to do your own work. Like having I feel like having a woman by you helps a lot in kind of getting you, like it gives you responsibility, it gives you purpose. I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I had never gotten married. And getting to be with someone who cared about you and wanted to see you grow and like helped in your growth. I think it expedited my growth significantly, but it also wasn't her responsibility to do at all. And I feel like sometimes there is this kind of expectation, or I hear a lot of women say like, I don't want to raise a man, which is very fair, but growth is hard and growth takes time. And when you don't feel like you have the encouragement while you're going through the process, it makes you want to give up because you're not getting those results that you're looking for.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think what women can do to help men is just encourage, show grace, but also know it's not your responsibility.
That is good to hear. That is good to hear. Yeah, and I get it. I've probably said that at some point myself, but like at like the ripe age of 18, that guy we were talking about earlier. But you're right. Like that patience still needs to be there, and like we're all just people, and women know that men have these standards and expectations placed on them, that they haven't had the healthiest role models when it comes to like emotional intelligence and stuff like that. So be the first person in that next step to help them so that we can work towards breaking that pattern.
I agree.
Well, thanks so much again, Pa, for being on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Yes.
I was a little nervous coming in.
I told you just a chat. It's like I'm pulling you for a chat.
Yeah.
It's my Love Island.
This feels like our walks. Yeah.
Exactly. See, I knew you'd kill it.
Thank you.
Well, that's all that I have for you today, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. If you like this episode, please be sure to leave a review and share this podcast. You never know who in your life might resonate with it. Chat with you later.